Okay, so today we will look at data types. So what is a data type? So in any programming language, for doing programs we need to define the variables. So variable is a holder in memory for holding the reference of a value. So we will see what is a variable in the next slide. So it is a memory area variable allocates some memory in RAM, so it can hold a value. So what type of value it can hold? Can it hold a number, or can it hold a character, or can it hold some decimal numbers? So what kind of values it can hold, and what is the size of memory it can allocate based on this data type. So there are different data types for numbers and characters. So in Java, the data types were divided into two types, primitive types and non-primitive types. In primitive types, the numeric data types and non-numeric data types. These numeric data types are numbers and non-numeric data types are characters or strings. So numeric, there are two variations. One is integer types and another one is real types. Integer types are just numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want, suppose if I wanted to calculate, take input from the user to calculate the addition of two numbers. So in that case I will take two variables with data type integer. So if I wanted to calculate the addition of two decimal numbers, I will take the data type as real. So in integer, based on size, we have four categories of primitive data types: byte, short, int and long. Suppose if you are using a numbers, so you know, right, 8 means 8 bits. So the range of the integer value that it can store is 2 power 8. So 8 bits means it can store ones and zeros like this. So it will take 2 power 8. So similarly, if you wanted to store a little bit more long number, then we will use 2 power 6, a short type of variable. If you wanted to store a little bit more larger value, you can use 2 power 32 integer. And if you wanted to use very long numbers, you can use long as a data type. Similarly, for storing decimal numbers, you can use float and double as the data types. So character is a 16-bit data type, and Boolean will store the value true or false, that is either 0 or 1. So the size of it is not defined. And non-primitive data types are the classes. These class data types are created by the users. So now we have created a class called welcome. So we can use it as a data type, welcome class. You can create a variable of type welcome. Similarly, arrays and interfaces. So we will come to know what are classes and interfaces and arrays. So these are data types, type of value that is being stored in a variable, and the size of, based on the size of value that we are going to store, so we will define the variable of that data type. So if we are storing smaller values, we can use byte. If we are storing little bigger values, we can use short. So based on that, we can define our variables. So what is a variable? How we will define a variable? So variable, you can give a name to variable so that you can refer it in our program at any point of time. So the data type of the variable you can specify over here. So this is the initial value of the variable. So here the equal to operator is the assignment operator for assigning the value to a variable. Similarly, here I have defined two variables. One variable I, which is holding a value of type integer with an initial value 0. Similarly, I have defined one more variable character with name A, which is holding the value A. So here the variable name is A and its data type is character and it is having the value A. Is that clear? What is a variable? So it can store a reference. So normal variable can store a reference to a single value. So here we have defined a variable I with data type integer which can hold a value 0. It can hold at any point of time a single value, either 0 or 100, or based on the size of the integer it can hold a value. So if I wanted to have a storage reference to a sequence of numbers, so I can go for a storage called arrays. So here I have defined an array, so which is holding a data type of integer values. So it can hold the size of the array I have declared here. So it can hold 5 values. So you can define at any size of arrays. It can be 10 or 100. So you can define based on the need. So once you define the array like this, in memory it will allocate a sequence of blocks for storing the number of values. So how can I access those values from this array? So you can access, yes, array can hold more values. So we have defined here array of size 5 means I can hold 5 values. The index is the term that we called for accessing the array elements. So the index of the first element is 0, the index of the second element is 1, and third element is 2, and so on. So the index of an array starts from 0. So if you wanted to access the value of the index 0, you can use like ARR of 0. So you can access like AR of 0. So if you wanted to access the element at third location, you can access as AR of 3. So it's a kind of random access. So you can access an element from any location or at any index. So it need not be sequential. So using the index, you can access the value of the element, value of the array. So this is a single dimensional array. Similarly, we can have multi-dimensional arrays. So because it is a single dimensional array, we have a single row. So here I have multi-dimensional, we can define multi-dimensional arrays also. So here I have defined two braces, means it has that many dimensions. So in multi-dimensional arrays, we can define how many number of rows and how many number of columns. Here we have 2 rows and 5 columns. So here this also holds the 2 into 5 10 values. Similarly, this is a 2-dimensional array. Similarly, you can define up to n dimensions. You can define 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional arrays. How can I access in 2-dimensional array? So row index and column index. So this is the first element in the 2-dimensional array. So if I wanted to access the element in the second row, third column, I can access like this. Third column means starts from 0 index. So third column means it is 2. So like this you can access the elements in the array. So while defining an array, you can initialize with default values. So is that clear? So now we will look at the operators that are available in Java. So normally we wanted to assign some values to variables. So for that we have the assignment operators. And postfix means this is operators that will be executed after the statement is executed. So this plus plus operator is for incrementing the value of a variable, and this minus minus operator is decrementing the value of a variable. Similarly, this plus plus after the expression means this operator will be, this statement will be executed after the completion of that statement execution. This plus plus in the before of the expression is prefix operator. Before executing the expression, it will increment the value of the variable. Similarly, for the multiplication, we have star. For division, we have slash. For calculating the mod, we will have a modulus operator. addition, minus. And shift operators, we don't use this much shift operators. And relational operators, this is less than, greater than. So during program we can discuss where can we use all these operators. So this bitwise operators and shift operators we don't use. So all other operators we will use more extensively in programming. So this is and, are the logical operators. So we will see what are the each operator it means. So first we will look at the postfix operator. Suppose I have defined a variable I equal to 0 and I say I plus plus so print I. So what this sequence of statements? So as I told, a program will contain the sequence of statements. So I have defined a variable with name I and data type integer with initial value 0. Now with this statement I have incremented the value and I wanted to print the value of I. So what it will print? It will print 1. Similarly, I can use plus plus I. So both are same. It will also increment the value of I and it will print the value 1. So I can write this expression in a different manner. I equal to I plus 1 means I am assigning the value to the I with existing value of I plus 1. The existing value of I is 0 and plus 1 I plus 1. So it will also print the value of 1. All these statements are same. So you can use either unary operators or the binary operators. So this plus and minus, all other remaining operators we call it as binary operators because it needs two operands required for performing this operation. Suppose if I print like this, what it will print? So it will print 0 because first it will print I, then it will execute the increment statement. It will not increment and it will not print. So that is the postfix operator. After the execution of the statement, it will increment the value of the variable. Suppose if I use plus plus I, now it will print 1 because it's a prefix operator. It will execute first this operation and then it will print the value of I. Are you able to understand what is prefix and postfix operations will get executed? How? Similarly, we have the, suppose I will declare one more variable. I will not assign any initial value to this. So this means, so with the value of 5, I wanted to multiply 2 times and assign the result to the variable A. So now if I print I comma A, so it will it will print 2 comma 4. So like this, suppose if I have equal to 5 slash 2, means this is the division. How many times 2 will be in 5? So the value of A will be 2 now. So it's a division. 5 division 2, the result will be 2. So what is the remainder? So if you wanted to get the remainder when you divide 5 with 2, so you will have a remainder 1. So if you want to get the remainder, so you can get using the modulus operator. This mod operator will give you the remainder. So now it will print 5 comma 1. So the value of I is 5. We did not change anything in the value of I, and we calculated the remainder and we printed assigned it the remainder value to A, and we have printed it. So similarly, these are the relational operators which will be used in conditions. So we will see all those operators when we are started using Eclipse from tomorrow. So I will show examples of all these operators, how to use those operators. So is that clear? What is a variable and how to assign values to a variable and how to perform some operations? So that different types of statements we call, so you need not remember all these expressions, statements and blocks. So these are the terms that are used. So an expression will contain made up of variables, operators and method invocations. Suppose we have seen so many expressions like this just now. So I wanted to calculate the value of A as multiplying B with 2 times and adding it with the value of C. So now if you see this statement, you might get doubt, what will it do, whether it will first multiply with 2 or first it will do the addition of 2 with C and then it will do multiplication. So there is a precedence and priority that is defined between the operators. So this is that we call it as precedence. So the precedence is nothing but priority. So if there is a sequence of operators used like that, then the precedence will be given to the unary operators like plus plus, minus minus and plus, and then multiplications, division and mod. Then it will give precedence to the addition and subtraction. Then it will give precedence to the relational operators and then conditional operators. So then at the end it will give precedence to the assignment operators. So this is the priority that it will execute. So now from this statement it will first execute the multiplication, then it will execute the result of the multiplication as the one operand and the value of the C as the second operand. It will execute the addition and the result will be assigned to the variable A. So expression and the statement is a complete unit of execution like A++ or a calling of a function. So those are called as statements. It's a single and complete unit of execution. So expression will have multiple operations, but the statement will have a single operation. Similarly, block. So block is a group of statements combined together. We call it as a block. So this block is specified with this curly braces, block start and block end, and these are the statements that we have written and expressions, and we have printed the value of the result. So this is how we can write a statements and expressions and blocks in a program. So when you are writing program, we can write blocks and statements and expressions. So these are the elements that we can use in the program.